Hello, everyone, and welcome to the International Mentoring Center webinar series, where we continue to pursue our mission to empower mentors and mentees worldwide by fostering a community of learning, growth, and professional development. Here at IMC, we believe that mentorship is one of the most powerful tools for personal and professional transformation. And through this platform, industry experts and leaders can share their insights, knowledge, best practices to elevate global awareness on mentoring standards. My name is Ira, and I will be your host for today. So before I introduce our speaker tonight or today, I want to remind everybody about our house rules. So we'll have a presentation for about 45 minutes, and then we'll have a time for a Q&A after the session. So feel free to jot down any questions that you have on the chat box. We have a team that will be reading them towards the end of the presentation. And then, yeah, we would love to hear from you towards the end of this presentation. And just to remind everybody, our aim is to create a vibrant community of learning and growth. So please know that this is a safe and welcoming space to ask and share your ideas, especially about mentoring. We want to learn from each other and gain something out of this webinar. So your participation makes this experience even better. So we can't wait to hear from you. Without further ado, of course, I'm very excited to introduce the speaker for today. She's a seasoned leader with 30 years of experience in international finance, including senior roles at top global banks and advisory board mandates. As an advanced executive mentor and Harvard alumni entrepreneur in residence, Gretta combines real-world insight with academic rigor and cutting-edge neuroscience-based strategies. She's passionate about empowering mid-career professionals, and she also helps clients break through career plateaus, develop a powerful executive presence, and also achieve long-term success in this fast-paced competitive industries. Get ready to gain actionable insights from our expert in executive growth and leadership. Let us all welcome Gretta Antonescu. Hi, Gretta.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor, and I hope that I can help with our session today to move the needle a little bit and to give some hope. I would like to start actually before we dive into the presentation with a quote. I read a lot and I follow lots of leaders of this world, be it in the business space or in the art space, and also I read a lot of history because we have a lot to learn from the big strategists of our history, because this is what it's all about today. It's strategy and how we strategize our lives and our careers. So I'd like to start with a quote from Oprah Winfrey. Very surprising. She also talked about mentoring once. You probably wouldn't expect that from someone like her, but actually it's very common with these personalities and top CEOs of the world to have mentors. And she said that something that really touched my heart, because she said a mentor is someone who helps you see the hope inside yourself. And if you think about it's very profound, because it's all about hope in the end, hoping to have a better life or a better career or a better situation at work. So this is why the key to seeing this hope inside yourself, to unlocking your potential, is the guidance that someone who walked that path before you can give to you. And this is what brings me to mentoring. Yeah, what is mentoring? Mentoring is different than coaching. Mentoring, it's literally in three words: guidance, support, and advice. So mentoring is done by a person who already has been there, walked the path. This is why it's very important when you choose your mentor to be someone who is either from your field or is in a position, has the position that you aspire to have, because that would be a person that can really advise, guide, and support you. Otherwise, if you work, for example, in the finance world, and you choose a mentor who comes from the film industry, it's not the same. And we're going to get to this, but this is the importance of mentoring. Someone actually can guide you because he or she have walked that path and is already there where you would like to be. And that person combines, ideally, like in my case, the professional real life experience and expertise with an educational background, academic background, and the right certifications, because mentoring, it's not just done, well, this is how I did it and I succeed, but also it includes also using certain tools, predefined, pre-established tools that you can apply in certain situations, and especially the neuroscience mentoring. And this is why there have been lots of studies, because I also read, I receive papers from Harvard, from Oxford, from MIT, about McKinsey, EY, various studies done in the corporate space and with regards to what is the key for success, be it for women, for men, to senior levels, to CEO levels, to board level. And they actually all came to the conclusion, they realized that people who actually had a mentor were 5 times more likely to achieve a promotion than those who didn't. This is incredible. Some of them said even that mentoring increases 50% your chances to get a promotion the next 12 to 18 months. Again, why? Because mentoring is guidance, support, and advice from someone who's done it. And nothing is more precious than this. So this is brings us to the first slide in the presentation, Ira. If you could please put it up for us, where we can see, if we can move to the next. Thank you. Then the next slide. That mentoring, it's a relationship in between two individuals. Ideally should be done one-on-one, because if you do it one to many, each of them have different agendas and different issues. So it's almost impossible. Coaching can be done, and I'll explain the difference and why. So it's a relationship between two individuals where the more experienced and knowledgeable person, i.e. the mentor, guide, support, and advice, is the less experienced and knowledgeable to help them achieve their goals. Career mentoring is basically taking this and applying in the professional space where you have as a mentor experienced professionals. And as I said, ideally also certified mentors, because they will know more. They'll give you also tools to use where they can help you through guidance, support, and advice based on their career experiences to achieve whatever you need to achieve in your career. So if you move to the second slide, please. Now, mentoring. In mentoring, we use these 6 steps: the purpose, identify, connecting, evolve, adapt, and play and lead. It's very important. And this is why, if you think about, I don't know if you already had mentors so far, but if you didn't, just think about yourself until now. If you ever sat down with yourself and went through this whenever you had a question about your career, because today I'm going to talk a lot about career mentoring. Have you ever actually sat down and say, okay, this is my problem and this is where I want to get and how am I going to resolve it? But have you gone through it in a structured way, i.e., first, purpose. Do I have a clear idea of what I should be working on and why? There is a very big difference in neuroscience and psychology in between what you want and what you need. And this is where people who don't know this mix and match and actually end up being very unhappy after they achieve what they thought they want, but it wasn't what they needed. Usually what we want, it's a nice to have. It's something that you will want to have because it will give you as an exterior validation from others. What you need, it's a necessity. It's not a nice to have and has nothing to do with exterior validation. I.e., if you get it, you don't care if that serves for you to be validated by others. This is why it's very important whenever you think you have an issue, want to resolve, or you want to take your career to the next level, first to identify your purpose. What is that I want? What is that I need? And which of the two I'm going to choose, knowing that what you want is not a necessity and might make you unhappy, and what you need actually relates more to your life meaning and purpose. It's very important. Identify. Once you know what you want or need, you need to sit down and map. Am I aware of all the moving parts of what I should be working on? Because when you need to achieve something, it's not just you, it's you and the rest of the world. And you really need to map, we call that stakeholder mapping. And then we use the Eisenhower matrix where we put them in 4 quadrants and say, important, but not very strategic from the decision point of view, important and strategic, and then not important and strategic, and not important, not less strategic. So you need to apply this, and then you need to put people in these boxes, because these will be people on which you'll need to focus. Number one being the ones who are important and strategic. It's very important to identify the moving parts. Also within the corporation, other moving parts. Are there going to be reorganizations that you are aware of? Is the corporation impacted by, I don't know, by economy? You need to literally map everything that's moving in the scenario where you need to succeed. Connect. Do you know how these parts combine to create value for you? Again, you need to really look at that and say who and how will need to combine in order to help me. That's value for me to achieve my goal. Evolve. Do you know where things are headed by default? I.e., if I don't do anything, where will I end up? It's very important. And then you need to assess that again from the purpose perspective. You need to match it with your you need to compare it with a purpose and see, okay, how is this? How far away is that from my purpose, from what I want and what I need? Because you might find out that actually you can live with that, or you might find out that you cannot live with that, and then you need to act immediately. Adapt. Do you know how to adapt and thrive? This is, and nowadays with the technology evolving at the pace that we have more technology advancements in 1 year that we used to have in 30 years. The environment is going to change at work and at home as well. But today we're talking about work. That means that jobs will change, job profiles will change, job importances will change. And you as a, I would like to think as a aspiring leader, be it mid-level or higher level, you need to be up to date with everything that's coming in your industry and is going to impact your company and your work. And you need to be one step ahead, because if you actually follow the trend rather than being ahead of the trend, it might be that you will be left behind, that you need to always adapt and thrive. Whoever is not going to adapt is going to be out sooner or later. There is no discussion about that. And again, this is where this is why this is part of the strategy system in mentoring that we use. We map this, which are the factors affecting your position and the desired position, and how do you adapt? What are you planning to do in order to adapt, and to thrive? And the last one, play and lead. These, by the way, are not the importance. They all have a same importance. All these pieces, I just had to give them a numbers, but they're equal in importance. Play and lead. I hear so many times, so many people, and I heard in the past as well, why I'm not perceived as a leader. I want to be a leader. And I'm talking about middle management. I'm not even talking about higher management. I have a team of 5 people. Why I'm not perceived as a leader? Or I would like to have a team, but I'm not perceived as someone who has a leader potential. Because leadership, and you will find in the annex of the presentation that will be distributed to made available to you afterwards, I describe the various types of leaderships. Leadership is it's misunderstood and not, or misunderstood or not well known. Leadership is a concept that encompasses many things. And the two main elements of leadership are inspiring. Do you inspire? And do you win people? These are true leaders. And this is very important, because you can be an exceptional professional. I have seen that throughout my career, but you will never be recognized as a leader if you don't have the package that inspires and wins people. And that's a cumulus of many things. It's confidence, it's charisma, it's authority, it's credibility. And this is what I call, do you have an executive persona? And that's the ultimate goal to achieve when you do a mentoring with someone. If you aspire to a higher position, to build an executive persona, more and more I see in business and in the political world the need for executive personas. There are lots of politicians, but there are not too many statesmen. It's a difference in between a politician and a statesman. It's the same in corporate world. You can be amazing as a professional, but you could, if it could be that you don't have a leadership persona because you don't have an executive persona. And this is why mentoring is super important. I want to make a parallel now to the top corporate, to the top athletes in the world. If you follow the Olympics and if you actually followed them when they gave interviews, there isn't any of them who didn't train for the first Olympic at least 12 years. 12. So they join as 10 years old, they're age 10 or 8, and they already know, they plan with the coach for which Olympic they're going to train. 12 years. Why? Because in these 12 years, they need to they need to grow, they need to run and win championships, regional, national, world championships, and only then they have a chance to be qualified for the Olympics. It's the same in the corporate world. You need a coach or a mentor or both. Now I'll touch a bit on the coaching. What's the difference with the coaching? As I said, in mentoring, and as Oprah says, the mentor will guide you, will tell you, will share with you from personal experiences. A coach is not allowed to do that. A coach can only ask questions. So to a coach, you come with a problem, and that's not sportsman coach. Yeah, we're talking corporate coach. Yeah, business coach. You come with a problem, and the coach is going to, and this is where the skill of the coach comes. And I know because I have 2 certifications in coaching as well. And it's quite interesting because it's very challenging for the person who does the coaching, because you many times you have the answer on the tip of your tongue and you want to give it, but you're not allowed, because the skill of the coach is to ask the right questions so that the person who's being coached arrives through his or her answers at the right decision. So instead, like a mentor, me telling you, look, in this situation, this is what should be done, and these are the tools you should apply. In coaching, I will be asking you questions so that you arrive at that on your own. It's a different way. It's a different way of doing the same thing. I prefer mentoring because it's much more straightforward, and I can mix coaching. I can bring coaching into it because sometimes I can also ask you questions that will trigger responses that, as Oprah says, will show you the hope in you, the fact that you should have confidence in yourself. So that is the difference. So I guess we can move to the next slide, Era. Okay, who is the mentoring important for? In my opinion, from junior to senior management levels, I will start with the top. Top CEOs in the world, they all have coaches and mentors, and they declare it. There is no shame. It's actually, it's like in sports, like I have my personal trainer. It's a thing to be proud about because you can afford, first of all, to have one. And secondly, because it shows that you are a person who really takes great care of his or her body, and that people respect that because you have a discipline in your life, and in business that's very well regarded. Going further down, middle management, there is a big gap in between middle and senior. Most of the people remain stuck at middle level for the rest of their lives, and some of them out of frustrations even jump out, mainly women generally. I have seen that. They get to a certain point where they're stuck there for almost 10 years, I would say, in average. And then they say, this is it, I'm out because I'm never recognized. I have consistent exceed expectation performance reviews, but I cannot seem to go up. Nobody seems to think that I'm material for promotion. So it's a very critical point when you reach a mid-level management, not to wait before you actually have a mentor, because as the statistics say, there are 5 times more likely people have mentors to get a promotion than those who don't. So you increase your chances immensely because you'll be taught what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who to do it with. Something that you cannot figure it on your own because you've never done it before. There is a very nice, I love it, a saying, and also I think there is a book that says, what got you here will not get you there. And that is exactly the truth. It will not get you there. Going further, towards the beginning of the career, imagine you enter a big corporation, but even a small one, you have no clue. You come out of the university or whatever, school. I have a bachelor degree, a master degree, I have executive level management degrees with Yale and Wharton, and God knows how many certifications. Nobody actually teaches you how to how to strategize your career from the moment you enter. And it's a critical point. Again, it's an inflection point because how you start sets the pace for how you're going to continue. It is very important. It could go very well or it could go very bad. It could go very well in the sense that you know how to understand your corporation, what you want, what you need, to map your stakeholders, map your actions, map the moving parts, create a strategy, and then start working on that while you actually learn also how to do your job. It is never too early to start strategizing. And if I am to take it even one step before, I would say that even kids who are in university, it would help them if they would have a mentor, because I have seen many parents with kids who are completely confused. They are in university. Some of them even drop off universities because they have no clue what to do with that degree after they graduate. So someone who can guide you, advise you, and help you put a strategy in place and get you to execute that, because you'll have to report back. It's almost like an accountability partner. It's extremely important, I would say, at any stage in life. Also at the stage when you're prepared to change career from one industry to another, and also at the stage when you're approaching the end of the career and you say, okay, what am I going to do now? Because life doesn't end today doesn't end at age 65. Doesn't 65 today is like 55. We are still young, we are still active, you are still, and not all of us just want to go home, roll over and die, so we just want to maintain, and neuroscience shows us that if you keep an active brain, you prevent many of the old age diseases. So how do you plan your retirement? Do you know how to do it? Many people find themselves lost, and that has to be planned actually years before you reach retirement. Also, because you could be surprised in how many countries people start getting fired, losing their jobs starting from age 50 onwards, because they become too expensive for the companies because of various things, either the contributions to the pension funds, or depends. And then they find themselves age 53 or something, unemployable because they're too expensive and still full of juice, as I like to say, and they don't know what to do with their life. And then what? Depression hits. If you start as you approach your 50s, already think like, in case this will happen to me, what am I going to do? And you work with a mentor and you have a plan B that could even run in the background, because there are various options, things we can do while we are still employed, like a golden parachute, then that makes a difference. So I guess now, Ira, it's time for our quiz, which you kindly offer to run for me.
Yes. Should we pop the quiz?
Yes.
Yes. Here you go.
So, as it says here, I would like you to imagine that you have the opportunity to work with a mentor starting tomorrow. Based on this, which of the following topics would you most like to explore or develop with your mentor? You can choose from this, or you can click on others and then put your answer, add an answer to this in the chat. What would be, because it would be very interesting for me to see from people attending this session, where do they see a need for mentoring in their lives if they would have to start tomorrow with a mentor?
I think all of them have, or some people are still answering.
Mhm. You let me know. You read the messages for me, please.
Yeah, sure. So there's a few people who have chosen career development strategy. There's two people who've chosen leadership skills, two for personal branding. So our top three are the first three
Yes.
options. Yeah,
Perfect.
awesome. Thank you. We can stop sharing.
Yes, thank you. These are exactly the answers I would have expected. So I'm glad to see that uh yet again we can go to the next slide. Yes, excellent. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Every time I talk to people, this come as top basically. Leadership, career development, and personal branding. So we can go to the next slide, and I'm going to touch on this. Okay, so it was important to see what you thought you need and to see how they would match with the benefits that I have seen from career mentoring I have done so far. Basically, as is listed here, I've been working with people on exploring different career paths because there were people who wanted to reorientate themselves, planning and executing career transition. People wanting to go from being a CEO to being a board advisor or a supervisory board, joining supervisory boards. Executive presence is one of the top things I have had to work on with people. Gaining insights into specific industries and roles. Personal brand, yes, goes hand in hand with executive presence. Tapping into professional networks, again, goes hand in hand with executive presence, personal brand, and different career path. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, learning from the mentor's expertise and receiving valuable feedback and guidance. We can go to the next slide. So let's touch on the three top things: career development, leadership, and personal branding. Leadership. As I mentioned before, leadership it's a very I like to call it because I used to work in mortgage-backed securities and we had synthetic products as well many years ago. I used to call them products that smoke and mirrors. You see, but you don't see them. You know, they are synthetic. Yeah. So it's a bit like this with leadership. Everybody talks about leadership, but when you ask, I even asked, people who are in leadership positions, what is leadership? They couldn't give me a definition of leadership and actually what it takes to be a leader. So this is why I actually looked into it. I did a study and then I had a presentation and I just put only the findings of this in the annex of this presentation where you'll see that there are different types of leadership. So in order for you to achieve a leadership position, first of all, you need to understand which are I think there are 8 types of leaderships. You need to map those leadership positions, leadership styles with the leaders you currently admire. Say, okay, if I choose one of these leadership styles, being the servant, being the democratic, being the autocratic, there could be also combinations of two. I wouldn't, you don't have to be one or the other. You can combine the two. Then, do I know anybody in my corporation or in my industry, make it industry relevant, yeah, that I think he or she is this and I admire. You need to have the same thing they do in sports, like those who train to become who go for swimming, they all think Michael Phelps. Yeah, those who start I don't know soccer, they feel I don't know Cristiano Ronaldo. It's great to have someone in mind. I'm not saying you become that person, but it's great to have someone in mind because in working and becoming this leader that you want to be, that and knowing that that person is someone that you would want to be one day, it's good to also look at their bio. Good to look at their LinkedIn profile. It's good to follow them. I learned a lot in life through copy and paste, which is very important. If you admire someone, just bring it in like a sponge, absorb everything that it's really, it's going to help you because you want to become that person. So identify which type of leader you want to be. Map that to someone you know in your corporation or industry. Follow that person, and then look at yourself where you are, where you want to be, the gap analysis, and see what's missing. And then this is what you start working on with a mentor. Even the first steps that I mentioned, you would work with a mentor. But then with the mentor, the work continues. I say, okay, that's the gap. How are we going to close this gap? And this is what you're going to work on. And this is how you are going to secure a leadership position. Now, if we go to career development, which is on my slide here, it's advance your career path and also overcome the career plateau. The same. They did an analysis study, McKinsey, of 1,500 CEOs in the world, and they with the aim to identify the common denominators that the most successful of them had. And they came up, even McKinsey now goes into the psychology and neuroscience side because it's a recognized fact that actually it works. It's because it's our brain. This is not voodoo, this is real science, it's our brains. Okay. So they came out with the top two common denominators of these most successful CEOs amongst the 1,500. The top two denominators are self-awareness and self-regulation. Self-awareness means, to put it in layman terms, you sit by the edge of the bed and you ask yourself on a sunny Sunday morning, where am I in life? Where I want it to be? And why am I not there? Ideally, now not in lame terms, in really mentoring and scientific terms, you sit again on a Sunday morning. This is when you have time to be with yourself only, no wife, kids, husband, friends, music, YouTube, Instagram, nothing. Literally, sit at the table, ideally in front of the window, looking outside because it's inspiring, with a pen and paper, because it has been demonstrated scientifically in neuroscience that when we write, we are accessing different parts of the brain which we don't access when we just think. So when we write, things come out. And you write this letter to yourself. Where am I in life? Where I want, and write where you are. Where I want it to be, write column left where I am. Where I want it to be, column right column, and at the bottom, why I'm not there. And you will be amazed to see what comes out. And this is what you work with a mentor. You look at your story. What's your story until now? What's the story? And we can even go back in time from childhood, What's the storyline? What has been your storyline? What has been the common denominator in your life? And where did it get you? Well, it got me here. Okay, where did you want to get? Well, I want to be there. Let's see what's missing. Maybe what got you here, it will definitely not get you there. It means maybe it needs enhancement, or maybe it needs replacing because we evolve. And what gets us to a certain stage, it will not get us to the next stage. So if you are in middle management and you want to succeed to become an N-1, or to actually from N-1 then or actually to enter an executive board, it's not the same. To get to middle management, you have to do certain things, but to get from there to an executive position in the C-suite, it's a totally different ballgame. This is why what got you here will not get you there, and this is what you need to work with a mentor. So career development, be it that you want to take it from junior to middle management, or from middle management to upper management, or you want to move laterally, it needs to be based on this analysis, self-awareness. And the part, what needs to change to achieve where I want it to be, is called self-regulation. This is what these top CEOs of the world, the most successful, had in common. They literally set time aside to look at themselves on a monthly basis. Where am I? Not yearly, monthly. because you forget, no, it has to be it's like going to the gym. If any of you likes to have a nice body and goes to the gym, you know clearly you need to go 3 times minimum, or you need to be outside 3 times minimum, walk, run, bike, boat, whatever. You need to do something. Muscles will not define, weight will not go away if we don't put in effort. It's the same with our brain. Weekly, not yearly, weekly, we need to do an analysis. Where am I am? Am I happy where I am this week? Where I want it to be? Okay, why I'm not there? What I need to change for next week? If you can't do that, at least monthly, minimum monthly. That will be like a discipline for yourself. And if you do that in writing, and then you go back in time through this and you read, you will see how you evolve. And that will give you, ideally, you will evolve and not be static. And that will give you a nudge, because you will see it's like going to the gym. If you want to lose 10 kilos, or if you want to develop your biceps, at the beginning it's hard because you don't see anything. But if you do that for 6 months, then you start seeing the weight shaving off, or you start seeing the muscles, and you go, oh, it's nice. I'm gonna do it. I'll keep doing this because I can see results. It's the same with this. Doing this on a monthly basis, if you do execute on that, you will see results. And the more you see results, the more you will execute. It's like a self-prophecy. So that's about career advancement. And then with a mentor, you will explore which are the paths. Is this the right path for you? Is this is what you want, or is this is what you need? How you gonna map the different stakeholders? Maybe do you miss something in terms of education? There are various parts, moving parts that are into that. This is what you do with a mentor for career advancement. Also, in career advancement comes the branding, because the branding, especially nowadays, you cannot be in a leadership position and you cannot advance in your career if you have not defined your personal brand. Doesn't matter the level you are. Even graduates from universities who are looking for jobs, I advise them and mentor them on how to brand themselves, because you need to have a digital footprint that's professional without discussion. You need to have a LinkedIn profile, because the first thing an employer will do, or even someone in your company, they will look at your LinkedIn profile. And if your LinkedIn profile is poor, it's almost as if you go into a meeting with these persons and you demonstrate poor hygiene. This is how bad it is, the impact. I have had cases where I personally introduced recommended people, but I didn't look at their LinkedIn profile because it wasn't my area of expertise. And I did it as a friend. I didn't do it as a professional, but I knew someone in the pharma industry. So I said, I'm just going to connect two people, right? One was middle level management, the other one a bit more seniors. I'm going to connect them and then they can take it from there. The first feedback I got from the person to who I made the introduction was, and I knew the other person very well, and I know she's very professional. This person says, I looked at her profile on LinkedIn and it's crap. Literally. That's because we were friends. She said, it's crap. I don't want to see her. And I was like, look, but no, she's this. She said, no, if she can't have a proper LinkedIn profile, I don't want to have a discussion. Because for me, it's part of the package. It's the branding. It's as if you want to have a job, but you go dressed like a peasant to the interview. This is how bad it is today with this media. So personal branding, it's very important. Even as when you graduate, you need to have a good LinkedIn profile. You need to have amazing documents, professional documents, your CV and your cover letter. You have to check your digital footprint, has to be extremely clean. No fancy-mancy Instagram, compromising photos, LinkedIn, and so on. If you are serious about your career, forget about those, because you're going to be checked everywhere. And if they see something that is not matching with your professional profile, you will not be considered. Today, I got this from top HR managers and from even members of the boards. They do digital due diligence is called. They will check everything. They'll run everything on you. besides the criminal record. That's another one, but I'm talking. So if you are serious about your career, you have to be serious about other profiles as well. You have a LinkedIn, you have a Facebook, just keep time from a family, keep it, I don't know, clean things, nothing that will compromise you. Now, going back to branding, they say that an interview it's win or lost from the first 30 seconds when they see you because it's the physical impression. And this is where we're talking about heuristics from neuroscience. There are about 30 or something heuristics, which are cognitive shortcuts that we take in order to take a fast decision without realizing. So that's another topic that you'll be discussing with your mentor. This is one of the top heuristics that's being used today, which is you see someone you like and you go, oh, you like how they look. You go, oh, I'm going to like what they say as well. This is what your subconscious decides, shortcut in the moment. Oh, he or she looks like this. For sure, I'm going to like what they're going to say. In doing so, you're going to be very open to that person. So you're going to listen openly. You're going to let them speak longer. You're going to probably ask even not that difficult questions because you don't want to prove yourself that you're wrong. That's another heuristic. You know, I made the bet. I like this person. I put my money on this person. Now I'm not going to put this person in a situation where actually he or she is going to demonstrate that it's not worth it wasn't worth my vote of credibility. You understand? So it's so tricky. This is why branding, it's one, physical appearance. Never underestimate the importance of physical appearance. I come from investment banking, trading and sales. I sat on the trading floors on Wall Street and in Zurich for 21 years. I have never seen, and I'm sorry, I do not want to offend anybody. I'm giving you the reality check. I have never seen on the trading floor ever an overweight person being hired. And I have rarely, very rarely seen a person of color. What this goes to show, heuristics. I cannot talk about persons of color, but a person overweight, I have asked people, what is the problem? Why wouldn't you consider a candidate? And the answers, and I'm giving you the inside scoop so you understand, the answers were always London, New York, and Zurich the same. Someone who allows himself or herself to arrive at in that situation, it's someone who doesn't have a mental discipline. And on the trading floor, we need people who are switched on and disciplined and fast. And I've never seen a fast, fat person. These are conversations from behind the scene. I'm telling you this just so I show you how heuristics work in real life. It's a shame. It's sad. They go also age-wise. You are over 50, you are already off the shelf. You're just like okay, out of date. You need to be moved on because someone else has to come, even though you are still at the top of your game. Not for everybody, but it happens. There are all these things running in the background. You can check online. They are called heuristics, and they are cognitive behaviors that we are not even aware of them when I'm aware because I asked. Why not? But usually people don't ask. They just come out of the interview room and say, no, this person, no. And they invent something like, oh, he was too slow in giving these answers, whatever. So very, very important, branding, physical appearance. Doesn't matter. I'm not going back to weight and color. Now I'm talking about something else. Dress to impress. When you go to work, when you go to interview, you always dress to impress. I cannot stress this more. That you want to be a leader, you want to have an executive persona. The first thing is how you present yourself. I know we live in the post-COVID era, but even the post-COVID era, people still can dress to impress, which means a nice shirt, means nice trousers, shoes for men, women, a dress, whatever. Dress nicely. I cannot stress this enough. I have done tests in real life with colleagues of mine in the office where they knew me for 18 years, and I would go in there. I always dressed very nicely because I grew up like that, to dress always nice. And I used to go in the office once in a management committee meeting where I was the only woman dressed nicely and with flat shoes. And then I would go in the same meeting a month later, dressed equally nicely, but with high heels. And I noticed the difference in how people would listen to what I have to say. The heuristics. You need to impress, and you impress through physical presence. You impress through content. What you say has to be of high quality content. If you know that you are not very, how should I say, and not a very spontaneous person, prepare your speech from home and do it, practice it looking at yourself in the mirror. If you know you have a committee coming that you need to you would like to say something, not to mention if you are the presenter, for sure you need to prepare. But let's just say you are a participant, but you know you will want to say something, be it committee, management committee, steering committee, project committee, whatever. Prepare your speech from home. Think of the points you would like to touch and look at yourself in the mirror when you speak, how you look like, how you say it, and say it till you say it so naturally that it doesn't sound like you're reading it. Because you shouldn't go in a meeting and say something and think like, because people can tell when you're actually reciting from the memory. Prepare because the content will have to match your presence. And the third thing, it's communication skills, part of branding. How do you communicate with people and every day today in the office? How you communicate in meetings? What's your posture when you communicate? And all this together with how confident you are, how credible you are, the results of your work, because that will give you credibility. All this, the physical presence, the content, communication skills, credibility, the results of your work, confidence, which is exuding. It has been demonstrated scientifically that if we are confident, we exude that through our energetic field, and I can explain that later. All that is going to give you the executive, the leadership persona that you want and you need in order to advance your career. Doesn't matter from which level to which level. You need that. People will see it, people will feel it, and people will recognize it. Anyway, so that addresses career advancement, personal branding, and also the last point on my slide with the increased visibility and recognition within the company and outside. And here we're talking about how to network outside your company. We're running a bit late. I looked at the watch right now, so we can go to the next slide, please. I touched on this, skill development goals, develop executive, no, if we go back, executive presence, leadership styles and skills, strategic thinking, improve communication to personal skills, master negotiation, conflict resolution, major as well, and overcome the imposter syndrome, which is the confidence that I was talking about. The next slide. Mentorship experience. Yes, so I've been mentoring women informally in a way since I was in leadership positions in investment banking, because I was approached. I had women coming to me saying, please tell me, what do you do that when you speak in a room, people listen and then they go and execute? And, things started like that, after which I realized that actually I would like to do this more professionally so I can help them in a more professional way. And I have done various certifications, and this is why now for 3 years at least I work with women, usually mid-level, who want to transition to higher level position. But also I have I've been asked and by friends, and also some of the women I work with, their friends, to help also their children to their kids coming out of university to plan their careers, to start and their careers and to advance. So these are the things I help personalize roadmaps that aligns to their career progression and leadership aspiration. And actually, I would always make this point. I will work with someone if we're going to work also in implementing this, on implementing. Because if we just work on the strategy and then off you go and do nothing with it, That's not helping me and it's not helping them either. So I want to work from front to back till the thing is being implementing and the goal is being achieved. Fast track their performance, the same, because we don't need to work harder, we need to work smarter. That's very important. I will teach you how to work smarter, not harder. Build commanding executive presence, what I talked about, and get skilled at navigating the organizational politics, which is critical. You cannot survive, and this is why I tell all my mentees the following: you need to have a sticker on your computer that says "work less, network more," and that goes with the how to navigate organizational politics and expands on that. So the next slide. Yes, the annex very briefly, and then I leave a space for Q&A because I see we have 10 minutes left only. So if we can just go quickly, Ira, just to show them what they're going to find here. As I mentioned, you're going to find different styles of leaderships with the pros and the cons: coaching, visionary, servant, autocratic. The next slide, please. Laissez-faire, democratic, pace setter, transformational, and I think we have another one: bureaucratic, transactional, and other, where we have rhetoric, scientific, dialectic. Go through them, you see pros and cons, map yourself, find someone who inspires you and matches the model you like, and then decide how you want to close the gap and who you're going to work with. Because I would like to say that you can do it on your own. And yeah, maybe some people can. I'm not saying they can't, but most of the people need someone to talk to and to guide them. So I would like to conclude here because I anyway talked a lot, and leave some space for Q&A if there are any questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Greta, for that inspiring and very meaty conversation, I should say. So we are opening the floor for Q&A. If there's anybody that has any questions or anything that resonated with you throughout the presentation, now is the time. We'd love to hear from you. And I just want to remind everybody that it's a safe space that we want to create, like to share ideas and, you know, learn from each other by the end of this session. So I just wanted to also kind of quickly appreciate everybody that joined us today. There was a message from Dr. Fawzia. She's from Oman. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar, Dr. Fawzia. And we have a question, by the way, from Wasit. Why is mentoring matter most for middle management?
Because, as I said, getting from middle management to top management, it's a big gap. It requires different skills. It requires different, from the politics, different networking, different visibility, and a different way also of communicating. It's big. It's a very big challenge. It's almost like going from a high school to university, or from university to PhD. Totally different ball game. You need to learn how to work smarter. You need to learn how to network smarter. You need to polish your communication skills. You need to. It's like building a different a high-tech building, basically.
Amazing. Thank you, Greta. And I hope was it that answered your question. We have a few comments from our participants. There was a message from Glow. She said, wow, what a wonderful, what a session. Very insightful is what we got from Glow. Thank you so much for joining us. There is also one called AH. They said one of the best webinars ever attended. Thanks, Greta. So thank you so much for these comments and questions.
Very happy, very happy. I just want to make one remark. Whoever wants to connect with me, please, the best way, connect with me on LinkedIn. The email address that's on the presentation, Ira, actually, I'll send you a new one. So before you share the presentation with everybody, I will send you the new one. But the best way, please connect on LinkedIn, and then we take it from there. Because I'm I'm on LinkedIn, I'm every day, and it's the easiest way, and I would not want to miss any of you.
Yes, definitely.
Who want to connect.
Our team has shared the links to your social media. Please follow Greta, connect with her if you're looking for her. She's if she's someone that you're looking for, then she's the perfect person.
And also on LinkedIn, once I have my website up and running, because I'm working on a very interesting website I'm also going to run a program for how to exceed the executive position. It's geared towards women, but it's open for men as well. There's no gender. It's not that specific, but I recognize that women need more help from many points of view, from what I've seen in my experience at least. So I'm gonna announce it on LinkedIn. This is why it's important if we connect on LinkedIn, because this is where you'll see when it's live, and then you can get the link, and then also we can take it from there as well.
Awesome. There is a question from Renu. Would be great to know more about the neuroscience tools that you would recommend for us to use.
Yes, well, it's a lot to talk about. I cannot really do it now in here. That's going to be actually part of the course that I'm going to launch. Uh, as I said, the only if you think about heuristics, which are about 34 of them, and if you take them and you group them in different categories and you use them for various things, for it, some groups so you can use for for negotiation, some of them for conflict resolution, some of them for organizational politics. And then if you mix and match that with other tools I have, you can imagine I studied 8 months for the neuroscience mentoring certification. So the toolbox is very big. It's very difficult for me to give it here in a short space. And it's also, you can mix and match some of these tools. It's heuristics is just one of the category of the tools that one has to be aware of. It's nothing about mind reading, but even for that, we have the fact that when you are joining a group of executives, you need to profile. That's another thing you work with the mentor. And there are checklists how you profile each of the members, because then you understand how you should relate to that person based on the personality profile you have. Also, part of the program I'm going to launch is going to be how to various tests that you run in order to identify your profile from basically from a leadership perspective or from the risk aversion perspective, and then how to map other stakeholders. So it's complex. It's like going to the gym and building the body of a Superman. It takes time. It will be a lot of pen and paper exercising to do. There will be homeworks and there will be timed. Everything is going to be timed, and you really need to implement, and you need to be on top of the ball. It's not like I'm going to do this next month. No, it's really like going to the gym and having a goal. This is what it is to achieving a leadership position. Focused, really focused, laser focused. You know where you want to go. That's the action plan, and you execute without failure. Nothing distracts you. You go for it. This is how these people who start 12 years before the first Olympic do it. And this is how they manage to get to the Olympics. And they don't even know if they're going to qualify for the semifinals and the finals, and if they're going to be on the podium, but they work 12 years for that dream. I'm not saying you should work 12. You don't need to work 12 in corporate space. If you are smart and you work with someone smart, you can achieve in 1 year what others achieve in 10. I have seen people that took them 10 years to get from director to managing director, and I have seen people going in 3 years there. I have seen people taking them from age 23 to 50 to go to managing director, and I have seen people becoming managing director at age 32, starting at the same age of 23. So that's the beauty or the ugliness of the corporate space, that depending on how well trained you are, who you train with, you can get faster to the same point. In sports, it's a bit more difficult because you really need a lot of practice there. So I would say give yourself a chance. Otherwise, you're going to learn to trial and error. And eventually, some of you, I've seen people getting tired and saying, okay, I'm off. I'm fed up with this. So I hope this helps. I see, is there a checklist to gauge if leadership type I am? Well, no, I mean, that's a good question. I could put something like that together. However, if you look at the pros, the leadership types you see there, and there's a brief description and the pros and the cons, I'm pretty sure that if you look at yourself, you'll be able to identify yourself a little bit, because the pros and the cons are very good for each of those. Just go through them and tick, like a quiz, tick, 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 and then you see where you have more ticks, and that will give you your leadership style.
Thank
It's
you for the
very simple. I'm
Continue.
very happy, very, very glad to have been here. Again, looking forward to connect with people on LinkedIn. And yeah, I wish everybody good luck. It takes a little bit of luck in life as well. I will not deny that. But luck is not everything. And most of those who succeeded will say that they made their own luck. And I'm one of those. I made my luck. It's hard work. So if you're not afraid of hard work, look, this is why they say it's hard. I had fun doing what I did. So you have to, this is, I give you a neuroscience thing, technique. Whenever you fear something or you dread something, make friends with that thing. Say, okay, I dread having to work on my career now. You say, you turn it around and you go, I love starting to work on my career now. At the beginning, it's going to sound weird because the back of your head says, no, no, you dread this, you hate this. But you go, I love it. And you say it to yourself every day, several times a day. I love doing this. I love doing this. What happens? Every thought we have is an exchange of energy in between two neurons. If you have always the same thoughts, you create a neural network like this. Now, this can be broken, but in order to be broken, you need to have different thoughts because you need to have different neurons connecting in between themselves. So instead of being like this, if you've been like this for 40 years, saying, I hate working on my career, I hate working my career, guess what? You will hate working on your career, and the results of your whatever you do is going to validate your feelings. You see, I hate working on my career because it's crap. I hate my career. However, if you start saying to yourself, I love working on my career and I love marketing, and every time you hear no, you hate, no, I love working on my career, you are going to create new neural. If the old ones were like this, now you're going to create like this, new neural pathways, which are going to override the old ones. And little by little, step by step, you will see that you will start loving what you used to hate. They did even how should I say, physical exercises of people, large audiences, where they ask everybody to turn around and to see how far behind the arm can stretch. And then they ask them to close their eyes and to imagine how their arm can stretch twice as long as it was before. They can go even more, they can turn around, yeah? And to tell themselves that I can do that. And then they ask them to turn around, and you would see how they could always do it twice. Why? Because they told themselves that they can do it. So it's the same with this. Tell yourself that you hate what you love, and you will end up loving it. Not immediately. Cut yourself some slack. As I said, you go to the gym, the biceps is not built in 2 exercises twice a week. No, in 3 months, maybe. Yeah. And then if you stop doing it, it might even go again fluffy like this. Tell yourself always, I love it. I love it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Even when you hate it, I'm loving it. And you'll end up loving what you hate. And then you'll end up loving working on your career or working on your relationship or whatever you need to work on. You need to change the mindset. It can be done. It's all about neurons connections. That's it. No voodoo, no visualization. It's all about connecting different neurons. This is neuroscience. This is the simplest of all. Then I can give you another example exercise you can do with yourself. And we conclude because we are over. I'm aware. Again, is the rule of 5 whys. Ask yourself 5 times why. When you say, I hate this, why I'm hating it. And you'll see the answer. And then you go, why? For example, I hate doing this because it's boring. Why is boring? Because I have to talk to people. I don't like to talk to people. Why I don't like to talk to people? Well, because I don't like to talk to people because I don't know what to say. Why I don't know what to say? Well, I don't know what to say because I never thought of what I could say. Why you never thought what I could say? Well, because I'm lazy. Why I never thought? Because you see, I didn't get to the bottom of why. And the 5 whys are actually what Toyota applies in their strategy. It's the only company in the world that has 100 years old strategy. So the 5 whys will show you what's the real reason why you hate something. And if the answer is like, I'm lazy, then you should ask the 6 why. Why I'm lazy? And you see what comes with that. Well, because I have no excuse. Actually, I should get off my butt and do something, basically, because I want to change. So it's all it's as Oprah says, and everybody, all the neuroscience scientists will say the same. We have all the answers inside ourselves, and this is what coaching does. In coaching, I would ask you questions for you to arrive at this. In mentoring, I'm kind of telling you, like, have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? Let's do this exercise. I would do the 5 whys with you, and I do many other exercises. I have hundreds of exercises that will get you to the point to understand what's the real reason why you're not moving in life. Sometimes it's resistance because we are in the comfort zone. And even the comfort zone is awful, guess what? We are used to it. And from the caveman experience, where, comfort means coming back to your cave where it's safe, because out there are the lions and the tigers. We still have that in our, the back, the oldest part of the brain is the limbic part of the brain. And still our comfort zone, as bad as it is, because the cave didn't have heating, didn't have anything, it's better than the what you don't know, because what if the lions and the tigers come and eat me up. So the same here, you go, well, my comfort zone, it's nice in this comfort zone. No, progress. I'm glad actually we overrun, because I wanted to say this. You will never achieve anything exceptional in your life if you don't get out of your comfort zone. You need to get out. Get out of it, because this is when you become exceptional. Do something you haven't done today. If you're afraid to talk to people, go and talk to people. That means going out of your comfort zone. You'll be surprised how much they will love talking to you. And then how will that change your life? You need to get out of comfort zone. Otherwise, life is gonna be linear and boring. That's my last how should I say, life insights for you. I mean, I talk from experience. I was born in Romania during the communist years, dark, no heating, electricity 2 hours a day, secret service everywhere. We are afraid for our lives. We are not allowed to leave the country. Our passports were held at the police station. Food was on rationalized, milk, everything. I was a kid, 10 years old, and I was dreaming, telling my mom that I'm going to see the world. I had no clue how, but I knew I was going to see the world, and I'm going to achieve things that are going to be lasting. I would make lasting impacts in corporations, in organizations, and in people's lives. And I did that. The revolution came. I dared to dream. I had no clue the revolution would come. I was first year university. I was on the streets. I could have been shot. The revolution came. I had no clue I will get the chance to leave my country, because I started after university to work in Romania. I had the chance to go to London to get my master's. From London, I ended up on Wall Street, from Wall Street in Switzerland, and so on and so forth. I dared to dream and to go out of my comfort zone. I left family, friends. I moved Romania, London, New York, Zurich. And this is not the end. But I had an exceptional life. I don't regret anything. I'm not saying you should leave your country. I'm just saying that getting out of your comfort zone can be even as small as, I'm going to talk to these people that I'm afraid to approach. Maybe there are some people in your corporation that you admire and you are afraid to invite them for a coffee or a lunch. Do that tomorrow. That means going out of your comfort zone. And you'll be surprised to see how they will, and you'll be like, wow, maybe they'll tell you, why didn't you come earlier? Yes, of course, they will talk to you. We are all humans. Nobody is God. We don't have walking gods. Even if they're CEOs, they're humans. Approach them. You have nothing to lose. But before you do that, build your brand, build your presence everywhere, because you're going to be checked before they accept anything. Build your physical presence as well. I don't even want to mention about achievements. You need to really be a professional. You need to be proud of your achievements. Yeah. Have your documents done properly, because if they like you, they might ask you, let me see your CV. And then if you don't have them ready, what are you going to send? So prepare as the athlete for the Olympics, and then go for the Olympics. Start contacting people, reach out, send, write, this, that. And then it's more to talk about LinkedIn, how you should create your profile there. Oh, it's a lot to talk. We should have a session only on that, the LinkedIn, and which posts you should have and the value you should add, because that's part of your branding as well. people look at your post, you feel free to look at mine and you'll understand who I am, what I talk about, what's my expertise. Why would you want to be in a room with me? Because I run in parallel mentoring, but also the board space, and that's another part of my career. So yeah, this is all I had to say. I hope it helps.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Ira. We are very much over. I wish
Thank you.
everybody a very good evening or day wherever you are, and lots of luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greta. And that wraps up our session for today. I appreciate everybody's appreciate our participation and your insightful thoughts and questions. And of course, special thanks to Greta. You've been amazing. We've learned so much today. It has been a lot of information, but
Yeah,
it was amazing to have you today. So
great.
if you are
Thank
an
you.
individual seeking mentoring credentials, or if you are a training provider seeking accreditations, please feel free to visit our website. Our team has shared it with on the chat box. And if you are a mentor yourself, please connect with Greta. And if you are someone who's looking for a mentor, connect with Greta on LinkedIn. And yeah, keep in touch. And we'll see you again in our next webinar sessions. And I hope that today's session fueled and inspired your commitment to fostering meaningful mentorships and relationships. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you too. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you for
Greta.
organizing. Thank you. Bye.